Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Youngstown State Dynasty. Here on College Hoops 2K8 for this one, we are going to go ahead and wrap up our non-conference play before we get into the meat of really what's the most important season for us personally, and that is, of course, conference. But we got to get through this non-conference play first. We got some good games, taking on teams like Ball State, Quinnipiac, and Akron. So it's gonna be a good episode, man. Make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe as well if you do happen to be brand new, as we do go ahead and take a look at this Ball State squad. And Ball State, we are going to be relatively evenly matched. They are a 75 overall squad. And they represent obviously the Mid-American Conference, a decent little conference that they got going on here, 3-4 so far this year. What really concerns me though is that they are a fantastic rebounding team, right? So they have some great rebounding ability. 82 rebound, 79 shooting. Offense and defense doesn't really scare me all that much. I mean, we match up relatively well, but this Ball State team has a lot of experience, man. They have 5 seniors on the team, 4 of which are currently starting. They're going to start 4 seniors and a junior, so this is a pretty big group of guys. This is a very experienced group of guys. They definitely have the ability to go about and try to win some games, try to go to an NCAA tournament, because after this year they might be falling off a little bit. But let's see what our group is going to be capable of. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. Hope you guys are ready for it. If you are, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new, and I'll see you guys on the floor with some basketball action from our Youngstown State basketball program. Let's go get it, boys. Alright, boys, so we are out here at our home arena, man, trying to take care of business, hosting these Ball State Cardinals, man, hoping to have a little bit of a better slate here against these MAC teams, man. We played against Akron last season and couldn't get the job done, man, so we'll see if we can turn things around here against Ball State, another MAC opponent, as we'll go ahead and get this one underway now. Ball State trying to drive it up, but McComb losing the ball, and we're trying to go coast to coast with it. Cam Jones inside the Shafino, and Shafino is going to go ahead and just lay that thing up, and that's how we get these first points of the game, as we have an early 2-0 lead. Now we do get to work with, as we get the rebound, Birdie Footlock getting it, and now Cam Jones pushing it up court, gets it inside to Jordan Andrews, lays it up and gets the little fillet action to go. And so we get our first couple of buckets and really starting to get the players that we need to run our style of play. We like to run with the ball. We want to go fast. That's when we're the most effective. And speaking of effectiveness, Justin Jones, man, throwing it down with absolute authority. The true freshman from Elyria, Ohio, making his presence felt real quick. And speaking of presence, how about Jordan Andrews getting the steal, and the little 5'8" guy throwing it down with a 40. I mean, look at him. He's smaller than me, and I'm not even that big of a guy. And he still throws it down anyways, as we get an early 10-4 run to start this game. As we'll move the ball around, Andrews gets it outside to reach Shafino. Shafino out to Vadim Parker. Parker inside to the 4-star. Otis! Can't guard him, man. You can't have a small body on Finn Otis. Just can't happen, man. So 12-4 lead here, and Ball State has to call a timeout. We'll see how much it helps here as we get a dot to Savanovic. Somehow managed to get that pass to go through. That was a tight window, and not an easy pass to make, man. In a 14-4 lead, the lead continues to grow as we pick up another defensive rebound. Savanovic, we're going to go coast to coast, pull it for free. No, but Finn Otis does end up getting the offensive rebound.
and a double-digit lead here early, but we do turn the ball over. I mean, we're not the best team still. You know, we still got some things that we need to work on as Justin Jones gets called for his second foul. So he actually has to go to the bench for the remainder of this half, and that will bring in the freshman point guard, Jody Gentry, and having a little bit of issues now, starting to stall out a little bit as Kilgore tries to get a little spin move in. No good, but Jody Gentry gets the layup and gets it to go. And Ball State will be taking yet another timeout. We now have a 22-10 lead, man. We are not playing these games, not today. As we get into the second part of this first half, is Helm trying to drive it in and just bullies. I believe that is Savanovic that just absolutely gets manhandled on the inside. Not a good matchup for us, and it's cut down to a 10-point lead. And Ball State, the Cardinals, we're going to make this a single-digit game and gets the three-pointer to fall from the outside. So back down within 9 points as McCollum tries a little mid-ranger danger. It's no good. Here comes the Penguins. Andrews to Ricefino, who does end up drawing the foul on Fred Haney. That is his first personal foul. And we will make one of two free throws. And we'll get it back up to double-digit lead. Worthington, he's stolen. Andrews loses the handle. A scramble for the ball, but eventually we get our hands on it. Cohen attacking, and it gets in. First assist of the day for the backup center, Ronald Turner, who also happens to be a true freshman as well. As Footlock will also attack on the inside. He will draw a personal foul in this one as well. So a 30-17 lead here for the Penguins. As Cross is looking for some space to work, but Bertie Footlock not allowing it. Cohen gets the steal. Here comes Andrews. Pull up! Bang! Jordan Andrews with the free, and look at all that space that he has around him, man. 3-point bucket goes. We don't shoot a lot of frees. But when we get an opportunity like that, we are, of course, are going to take that, no questions asked. As Worthington does end up getting shaken up for Ball State. So that will thin out their bench a little bit as they're facing a 16-point deficit. But the Cardinals will respond in kind with a three of their own as they now go into full court press, which actually works. And now here comes the Cardinals looking for a potential free ball inside the Cross. Cross with the spin move. Post fadeaway, no good. But Bang gets the rebound, and Cohen ends up recovering it eventually. Zavanovic attacking the other way. Finn Otis with the slam. The former four-star JUCO making his presence felt for sure. As we go trying to get up court, Zavanovic attacking, gets it inside to Cohen, and Cohen will indeed draw the foul. The fifth personal foul on the Ball State Cardinals. And we go into halftime with a pretty good lead. We're up 42-26 as of right now, but they do get that pretty tough basket to go. And we're moving the ball around here, trying to be a little bit more patient, but we try to get it inside to the center, but it gets picked off again and going coast to coast with it. And so the Cardinals trying to go ahead and make this a little bit more of a game. Bain at the top of the key, looking to dribble it in, gets it stolen from Footlock, but it's stolen right back. It's a scramble again. Isafino finally comes it down, going coast to coast. Foul on McCollum. That will be 2 free throws for him, as we will take our second free throw. No good though, but Finn Otis does recover the offensive rebound. And Finn Otis, this freshman class in general, and this is including Finn Otis because he is somebody that is going about, coming in as a JUCO, first year Division I basketball. He has been a really big impact, and we're just going to pull away. I'm going to see you guys at the end, my guy.
So we would go on and win this game by a relatively convincing margin. We end up winning by 14, but you gotta remember, like, we eased up a little bit towards the end. End up getting to the free throw line a lot as well, 16 for 25 from the line. Want to get that up to that 75%, but we got 47 bench points from our guys in this one. Led by Finn Otis off the bench, man. He was absolutely a menace in this game. 21 minutes of action, he ended up with 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals as well to go with it. He was 7 for 9 from the field in this one. Surprisingly, only had one other player score in double digits, and that was Birdie Footlock. Now, Birdie Footlock did end up with 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 steals in this game as well. He was 4 for 8 from the field in this game, and it was a good looking performance, man. I loved what I saw overall, and it was a very convincing victory for our squad. So we take a break from the action on the hardwood to kind of recap how things went this football season. Now, for us personally, we did not have a great football season, but despite that, we actually move up to a 3-star program, which is really interesting. And we're also a 2-star academic school as well. And I mean, it was just a really difficult time for us. We did end up losing to Toledo first and foremost. You know, gotta get that paycheck, right? But we started out losing to Illinois State on the road. We lose to them 28-21, a game that we probably should have won, and then it just kind of spiraled from there. Was not able to take care of business against San Diego State, let it slip away against Murray State, and then losing to Eastern Kentucky on the road and being blown out by Tennessee State. But I think after that blowout, that was when we really started to see us turn a little bit of a corner, right? So Eastern Illinois, we did lose to them 28-16. We actually blew a 16-7 lead going into the final quarter, but we do end up winning 3 of our last 4 games to end the season. We do beat Western Kentucky. That was a big one for us. Brian Brooks was phenomenal in that matchup against Western Kentucky. We also pulled the upset on Tennessee Martin. Tennessee Martin does go on a 3-game losing streak to end the season. Then we lose narrowly to Jacksonville State. We lose in overtime to those guys before we beat Southeast Missouri State, who isn't ranked in the top 25, you know, in this final top 25 poll within the FCS. But that being said, they were ranked in the top 10 when we played them at the time, and it was a huge upset. Still is considered a pretty big upset. So, I mean, we got some things to look forward to going into next season. We just did not have a good start whatsoever, right? So we didn't have that going our way. But let's go ahead and jump into the stats. Now, we did end up essentially with a 2-quarterback system over the course of this season. And, you know, Chris Ty, you know, was our main person playing at quarterback. He was hurt early. He ended up with really a little bit of a down season from what he had last year. He only threw 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, but he did improve his completion percentage, which is pretty good. And then he also improved his rushing yardage, as well as not fumbling the ball as much here in season number 2, which is a nice little sign of progress. But Jack Flash is somebody that's going to be really the next face of Youngstown State football, right? Jack Flash, I know his passing stats don't look good, 888 yards, 6 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, but we asked him to, you know, line up in multiple spots on the field, you know, tight end, a wide receiver. He even played some cornerback for us, you know, that shore up our defensive backfield. And he answered the call, man. He, you know, did what he could. I really like this guy's toughness, you know, and he'll only get better as a passer. But in the interim, he is going to be a really good secondary quarterback option. And look, I mean, he's already an impact player, right? So he had 3 touchdowns on the ground. He ends up with 6 touchdowns through the air. So 9 total touchdowns versus 12 interceptions. He did also catch a couple of touchdown passes. He ended up with 15 catches, 195 yards, and 2 TDs in this one. Defensively, ends up with 29 tackles, fumble recovery, and then also ends up with an interception. So yeah, talk about a guy that did a little bit of everything for us this year. And, you know, once he does, I think he'll definitely be taking over once Chris Ty does end up graduating. But in the meantime, he can be that secondary quarterback and be a general Swift Army knight for us as we move in trying to build this football team up from the ground, even with these sanctions that we currently have. Meanwhile, Jody Gentry looked, you know, he had some promise, man. There's some serious promise going on there. Ends up with 160 carries, 613 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That does lead the team. No one else did end up with 100 yards rushing. Dyford to home did end up being the closest. 33 carries for 99 yards. Isaac Jefferson found the end zone a couple of times, and so did, of course, Jack Flash with Michael Blount, the backup fullback. He did also find the end zone, 7 carries for 13 yards. Now, for the receivers, we did not have any receivers with 1,000 yards receiving this year, but John Langford in his final collegiate season, you know, he did his thing, man. You know, despite the turmoil at the quarterback position, you know, he posted somewhat similar stats in last year. 69 catches, 845 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Did have more drops this year, so a little bit of a downgrade from last year. But he was a good receiver, and we're definitely going to miss him when he graduates. Ty James, however, you know, he ends up being the number 2 receiver, 48 catches, 600 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Also a step back from last year. Charles Hansbrough, the tight end, 12 catches, 234 yards, our 3rd leading receiver. He actually slightly improved. But then, you know, we also saw a little bit of impact from St. Thomas. Jack Flash, what I talked about earlier, and then Dyfker DeHome ends up with 5 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown as well. Now, for blocking, the blocking was pretty good for us overall, or at least it was better than what it was last year, right? So we got that going for us. We are having 2 offensive linemen that were starters graduate. So we'll have to continue to build that offensive line. Sean Taylor was a really good add. 1st team all-conference off rip. That's really good. 41 pancakes and 7 sacks. Isaac Wynn was also a 1st team all-conference. 31 pancakes and 3 sacks allowed. But the rest of these offensive line does need some work. We do need to work on that. Nick Riggs, I think, could be a pretty good player. He ends up with a few pancakes. He did get hurt very early in the season, so we definitely missed him, but I think he's going to be a good offensive lineman for us if he can stay healthy. That's really the number one thing. Isaac Jefferson allowed a sack, and then Jody Gentry allowed a couple sacks as well. Finally, for the defensive side of the football, you know, we saw some Brian Brooks. We put him into the starting lineup because he was simply too good to keep him on the bench, right? And we paid for it with some great football, right? Brian Brooks leads the team in tackles off rip, 90 tackles, 15 TFLs, 5 sacks, 3 interceptions. Also had a forced fumble. No defensive touchdowns. I think we might have only had 1 on the year. That is followed by another freshman linebacker, Joe Campbell, who, you know, 2-star guy, but, you know, started right away because of the holes that we have on the roster. And, you know, he played pretty well. 59 tackles, 16 TFLs, 6 sacks. Did also end up with a couple of fumble recoveries to go with that as well. Speaking of TFLs, he actually, you know, Joe Campbell or Brian Brooks were not even the 2 guys that led the team in TFLs. That was actually our 4-star freshman defensive tackle, Randy Sutton, who did some great work. 39 tackles, 18 TFLs, and 7 sacks to go with it. He does also have a forced fumble and a forced recovery, and he also does lead the team in sacks. Now, for the turnovers, you know, Nathan Holbert, man. You know, Nathan Holbert, you know, not a very good player, you know, at least it seemed like, but he played at times a little bit higher than what his stats say. I mean, he's only a 52 overall guy, so not that good. But 4 interceptions, you know, made some big plays for us. Actually had a defensive touchdown and did lead the team. There was only 2 other players that did have multiple interceptions. It was Brooks that I talked about earlier, and then also the junior linebacker, Craig Franklin, ends up with 2 INTs off of 18 tackles and a TFL, as we only did have 1 defensive touchdown. And then to round out the group, for the defense, Mark Slane only player to have multiple forced fumbles. And then Joe Campbell, actually, I didn't even notice this at first, second leading tackler, did lead the team in fumble recoveries.
So we return ourselves over to the hardwood, where we take on another small conference team here to, try to boost that record up a little bit. We are actually taking on the Quinnipiac Bobcats over from, I believe, the Northeastern Conference. And the thing with Bagley Center, man, is, it's a little bit harder to tell, but we are starting to fill it up just a little bit more. There's some excitement around this program, man. I'm going to tell you what, between the recruiting class that we just signed and just the fact that the product on the court as well is doing a little bit better. Andrew Kirby Jr., man, is doing a great job here at Youngstown State, and I'm hoping that we can get him to stick around a little bit more even after we start seeing NCAA tournament success. But we'll go ahead and jump into this one as Justin Jones, the freshman center, does end up winning the tip-off, and we attack right away with Jordan Andrews, who does end up drawing the foul, and he will end up making both free throws. So attacking quickly here, as this is our style of play. Shafino with the steal the other way and throws it down. And not only that, but Shear already gets called for his second foul. So in a matter of 17 seconds, he's already in foul trouble, and he's going to have to go to the bench. We'll see if he remains there for the entirety of this first half. But we do have a pretty close game here early on, though, as this Bobcats team does have some fight in them. The thing that I want to do, though, is Quinnipiac does not have a true center. So when we have a chance, I am going to try and attack inside. Doesn't work that time, though, as Andrews gets the steal, throws it inside to Justin Jones, back inside to Jones. Jones lays it up and doesn't get it to go. But Shade Long going to be called for the defensive foul, already the third personal for this Bobcat squad. Well on pace to getting into the bonus here early, as Jones attacking again, going over to the other guard, Jordan Andrews. Looking for some space, backs it out to Cam Jones. Jones inside to his other Jones as he gets yet another foul. This is a game plan for today, man. Justin Jones going to get a lot of action. Biggest guy on the floor. He's got some decent moves, man. He's going coast to coast with it. 7'1" guy going coast to coast and not losing the basketball on the knees or something like that. Gives me a lot of Ron Valabidi vibes. For those of you that enjoyed the Cincinnati Royals NBA series in the past, for the more OG subscribers on the channel, if you haven't seen that, make sure you go ahead and check that out, by the way, for that reference. But we jump to a 9-point lead here quickly now. This is a 16-7 lead here as they try to get something going off the timeout, but we force yet another turnover. Andrews looking for some space, has Cam Jones wide but naked open, gets to about that mid-range or danger area. And Cam Jones now has 4 points off of that 2-for-2 shooting. So a double-digit lead for the Penguins as the Bobcats look to respond, but Finn Otis gets the turnover, though. Looking to go the other way. Back to Cam Jones. Jones attacking and can't get it to go, but gets his own rebound, and the rebound ends up coming in. And the Bobcats gotta go and call a second timeout. We've just been out hustling this Bobcat squad as they have no idea what hit them right now. As Elenese are trying to attack the basket, actually gets that one to go over the 7-footer Justin Jones, but did not draw the foul. Still an 11-point game here as Wilkerson also attacking on the inside, doesn't get it to go. And it's a rebound for Ronald Turner. Pushes it up to Cam Jones, who lays it up and gets it to go. Now 8 points for Cam, as this offense has been absolutely electric. But we're trying to get it inside to Jones. Jones getting it back out to Shafino. Shafino's gets robbed, though. And Forshen going to lay it up and is going to get that easy steal in transition. but still an 11-point game. Vega gets it out to Forshan, who tries to step back. He tried to pull to Kobe Bryant, but he is no Kobe. As Footlock looking to attack the basket. Back to Jordan Andrews. Bang! 14-point lead for the Penguins. As we are just off to another excellent start here. It's now 12-point game coming out of the timeout. McNamara at the wing. Gets it back out to Joyner. Pulling up for a very deep three. Does not get it to go, though. And Reese Jafino does end up getting the rebound. Jafino going coast to coast and somehow gets that one to go. That is not an easy shot to make, but he made it look it that way, at least this time around. As Vadim Parker's got some space in the corner, so we're going to pull it. It's no good, but Ronald Turner ends up getting the offensive rebound, and he will get the puck back to go. 33-17 game in favor of the Penguins. As Joyner goes inside to McNamara before going back for a deep three of his own, and Joyner responds with his first 3-point basket of the game. Still a 15-point deficit though, as Justin Jones grabs a turnover. This is trouble. Little man on him, and that's barbecue chicken. Oh my goodness. Is he on demon time right now? 17-point lead, and they continue to put little guys on him. That's not going to work. Justin Jones is just too good. He's just going to drive it on you, take advantage of the size. And the dude's been a difference maker, man. I don't know how many points he's got right now, but I'm just saying, the man is doing his thing. As we have an injury on the floor, Birdie Footlock ends up spraining his ankle, so that's a tough loss. So now the 4-star JUCO, Finn Otis, will now come into the game. Coming in for a big moment, man. You know, he's going to be someone that is going to be expected to start someday. Birdie is a senior. So we're going to see what Finn Otis is made of. As Justin Jones attacks on the inside once again. Tries to lay it up, but it's no good. So we don't get the layup to go, unfortunately. So still, 19-point game. Gonna get it out to Savanovic, who has a wide but naked hole to the basket. And gets that one to go. 21-point game. Just no mercy for the Bobcats as we get another turnover. Justin Jones going coast to coast. Does he get it down? Yes, sir! Okay. Justin Jones, baby. And it's barbecue chicken, man. Plain and simple.
So that phenomenal first half that we did end up having carries us to victory here today. We end up with 74 points. We win by close to 20. We won 74-56 in this one. Great field goal percentage, even though we didn't shoot great from 3 today. Only 1 for 10 in this one. But the free throws were a lot better. 17 for 22 in this one. And we also, generally speaking, did a better job of taking care of the basketball. So great performance for our guys. End up with 30 bench points as well. And how about Jones, man? Jones is built different. Grant, he did most of his work in the first half, but he still ends up with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 steals. He, was definitely someone that we went to because Quinnipiac, they did not have the size, right? They did not have a true center, and we took advantage of that. Also looking pretty good in this one as well is Cam Jones, the California product, ends up here with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. So he did a little bit of everything in this one. I don't see anybody. Oh, there was one more person that ended up in double digits, and that was Savanovic, man. Savanovic, coming from the bench, looked really impressive in this one. Honestly, ends up with 10 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and it was a good performance for our guys. So we end up going 2-0 in this episode. We'll see if the sim actually treats us pretty well on top of it. But it turns out that the recruiting actually was not very kind to us whatsoever, as we do end up, how about this for a big surprise? We actually end up getting blown out by Illinois Chicago. We lose to them 78-45, led by their guard tandem that ended up dropping 30 on our heads. Not a single person on our team scored double digits, right? The closest was Reese Jafino, who ended up with 9 points off of 7 shots. So, somewhat efficient there, but, no one else really stepped up, and it was just a bad shooting day for our offense. Only 17 for 50 from the field. We do also end up losing to Akron on the road. We lose to them by 12, and we played a little bit better in this one. Offense, looked a little bit more, competent, I guess. At least didn't to turn the ball over much, it seemed like. Did have one guy score in the double digits, and that was Vaden Parker, the sophomore small forward from France, who is having himself a decent season, getting more playing time than what he did last year, but he ended up with 10 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists. So my man did a little bit of everything. So we go into the month of January here. We are 4-4, and we are 0-1 in conference play, right? So this is where things really start to heat up for us. These next couple of months that are going to really determine how the rest of this college basketball season goes. So next episode, once again, we will have a double header, but we will start things off here. We will be taking on the very team last season that did knock us out of the conference tournament semifinals last year, and Wisconsin Green Bay. So it's going to be a good one, man, and I am honestly extremely excited about this opportunity to go out there and try to take care of business, trying to get a little bit of revenge here in conference play. If you enjoyed the content, by the way, though, I need you guys to do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button for me, and then also hit that subscribe button for me as well if you do happen to be brand new. But with that being said, I hope you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.